Hi guys, Lori here with Sew at Peace. If you are new to my channel, I make handmade sewn goods such as tote bags, makeup bags. I make these hanging feminine care storage bags, wristlets, wallets, various zipper pouches. So I like experimenting with new products. So that's kind of what sparked this idea, is just being creative. I've always wanted to create something new, and this is what it ended up being. So it solved a problem for me. I was tired of bending awkwardly to get my monthly essentials, my pads and tampons, etc., all the stuff that we need as women. So this has been super helpful. So it just basically hangs on your toilet paper dispenser. So I had an idea. I have seen some hair care tool pouches. So they're usually pretty long and somewhat narrow. So they're designed to fit like the Dyson air wraps or your hair straightener, maybe a hairbrush, that kind of thing. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. I don't use a hair straightener anymore since my hair is short. I used to straighten it when it was like a bob, but now I prefer the wavy look with my pixie hair, so it's much easier. So all I use for my hair routine is a hair dryer. So I brought my hair dryer in here. I used the hair dryer and the diffuser, which is quite large. I think this one is close to 6 inches wide, which is pretty big. But I had the idea of creating something for my hair dryer. So the typical thing that people use or put their hair dryers in is like a drawstring bag. You've probably seen them at hotels that you've been at. They just put the hair dryer in there. So really, it's probably the only type of thing that would work, since it's kind of awkward. It's an awkward shape. Most hair dryers are. Some of them do fold in to make them more slim, which is nice, but I think a majority of hair dryers don't fold, such as this one. So I'm gonna try to experiment and create a bag, just like a storage bag that you can put your hair dryer in, so you can put it in your luggage. If you're like me, your hair dryer may not be the cleanest. They tend to get like a lot of lint, or maybe you put it down on your bathroom vanity, or you're staying at a hotel and you're not sure how clean it is, and you put it on there, and you may not want to put your hair dryer back directly into your suitcase. So we're going to see what we come up with. I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do. It's going to be a zipper pouch, somewhat in the shape of this. We'll see what we come up with. And the two fabrics that I have chosen are this gray floral fabric. I have a lot of it. That's why I'm going to experiment with this. And it's not my most popular fabric, so I don't mind experimenting with it. And then I just have this plain gray liner. So we'll see what we come up with. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is fold this up. That way we know exactly the smallest that I can get this. The cord takes up a little bit of room, so we will get this folded. I don't actually ever fold this cord up. I just wrap it around my hair dryer. Admittedly, but we're gonna do what I think most people would do, is fold it up. I don't know, maybe that's not most people, but we're gonna see how small we can get this. So we got this. So as you can see, the cord doesn't exactly bend all the way up. So that's kind of why I wanted to get this folded in here, so we can see how long we need to make it. So this is what I'm gonna go off of, is this, where this turns right here. So going to be this length to this length. So we'll just use the mat. It's about 12.5 inches. Yeah, it's about 12.5 inches. So I think I'm going to make it 13 inches long. So we're going to put the zipper along this edge, and then we're going to make it come out this way. So I'll probably box it in right here at the end. This is about 4 inches. This barrel part is about 4 inches. And then I wanted to make it as long as, or as deep as this area here. So from this line to this line. So we'll see how wide that is. So it's about 5 inches that way. All right, I have my dimensions. I had to make them a little bit bigger because my diffuser head, I think, is too big and it's not going to fit. I'm thinking it may not be worth it to try to fit it to a certain size just because of how big the diffuser is, but we shall see what happens. All right, I am gonna iron this fabric too because it's very wrinkled. I like to unfold my fabric at least in half. I notice when I do it in fourths, or when it's folded over 4 times, it doesn't cut that straight. Like when you unfold the whole thing, it comes out kind of wonky. So I'm trying to stop doing that because I like to be as neat as possible. All right, I'm going to iron these before I cut the rest of it. All right, I'm just gonna use this medium weight interfacing. I'm not really sure what type of material to use. So since this is kind of an experiment, I'm just gonna use this one. So we're gonna cut the 13, a little less than 13 inches. I like to cut my interfacing a little bit smaller because you don't want it to be bulky. All right, I'm gonna go iron these on my main fabric. All right, I found a zipper that's gonna work for this. So I'm just gonna start putting my pieces together. Okay, so everything is all sewn, and here I'm testing out my hair dryer. I'm not really sure what happened to the audio. It disappeared on me, but I had a hard time putting the blow dryer in there. It wouldn't fit in the hole all the way, and I put the diffuser in there, nothing fit. It just didn't seem very practical for me to make something form-fitting just because of the amount of space that my diffuser took. So what I'm doing here is improvising and salvaging what I can of this pouch. So I just basically sewed a straight line where that little extension was just to make a rectangle. So I made a little pouch and find a use for it. So that was an epic fail. I was trying to think of a way to create something that maybe is like a wrap. I just wanted something a little bit more form-fitting, but when I look at it closely, it's gonna need to take up quite a bit of space this way. So the only form-fitted area would be like the very end of this, and I just don't know that it's worth making something specifically made to fit this. So I'm just gonna make a basic pouch to put my blow dryer in, and yeah, and that should work for travel purposes to keep my blow dryer away from my clothing. So I'm going to use the same materials, and hopefully my measurements are good, but I can always adjust it or make another one later if I need to. This is just an experiment. All right, so I just added some fusible fleece to my main fabric. So I'm just gonna basically make this kind of like a tote bag. So I'm gonna sew along 3 sides, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the lining, except I'm gonna leave a hole here so I can flip it. And then I think we're just gonna close it off with a plastic snap button. So I might add 1 or 2 of them. So we'll see what it's looking like and how wide it is once we get there. right, just snipping off the corners. Ah, I forgot to leave a hole in the lining, so I think we'll just leave a hole at the top. So that's another way to do it if you forget to leave a hole. So I will do that. I'm just gonna flip this main piece right side out. All right, I'm gonna leave the lining piece wrong side out, and I'm just gonna tuck this main piece in here. And I'm just gonna clip around the entire outside. All right, put all my clips on here, and I'm just gonna sew the entire outer area and leave a gap. So hopefully I don't forget to leave my gap. Oh, I forgot to leave a gap. Oh my Lanta. So what I'm going to do then is just remove some of the stitches in the lining. So we can just seal that up later. It's not a big deal. I feel like this is the easier route to do since I already messed up both of my options. So when I do this, sometimes the stitches will just come apart on their own. Sometimes you have to like take your seam ripper and help it along. So what I do is, because I've done this before, where I have forgotten to leave my holes to flip my project. So if you do that, what you can do just to make sure it doesn't open when you go and turn your project is I just put like a couple of back stitches to each edge. All right, guys, so I did my reinforced stitches at the edge, or where I seam ripped. So I'm just gonna flip this right side out. My camera cut off, so I had to go unload some videos, so I had more storage. So I gotta make this quick. All right, so I'm just gonna quickly close this hole that I left on the bottom. All right, now we're gonna tuck this lining inside the main bag. So I clipped along my, the entire top portion. So I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna top stitch. So I can either add one button here or I can add two. Kind of feeling like I want to add two just to make sure nothing falls out. All right, so here's my bag. I think I'm gonna do a dark gray plastic snap button. So we're gonna do two, and I'm not gonna measure it because this is just for my personal use. So I don't really care if it's not perfect. Okay, snap buttons work. So we'll test it out in just a minute. Let me get this stuff out of the way. All right, so we're gonna test out our bag. So here's my blow dryer. Here's my diffuser. And there it is. The size is actually perfect. So the top, I feel the cord right here. So yeah, it's pretty good. So this will be a nice thing to add to my suitcase. That way I don't have to get my clothes dirty, like I said. So let me know what you think. It's a super easy project, and I will list the dimensions in my post. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a joyful and peaceful day. Thank you.